What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show powered by BetUS. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers win another game. They have won 6 straight. They beat the Kings 108-102 behind a 30-point performance from Anthony Simons, who is still a Portland Trail Blazer. Everybody's still a Portland Trail Blazer. The Blazers follow up their deadline inactivity. Did not make a single move today. Shout out to you if you were there for our trade deadline live stream nonetheless. They follow it up with a win over a team that I guess they're trying to chase for the play-in in the Sacramento Kings. So, I mean, we get to talk about that more and more the more games they win, and they win another one. And this was a hard-fought game. This was a game where the Blazers maybe didn't play as well as they had in some previous games, but still won. Isn't that what good teams do? They don't play too well, and they still win games against solid teams. Are the Kings even solid without Fox? I don't know. We'll find out. But the Blazers get another win. Shaedon Sharpe, big off the bench, 24 for him. And this was just an all-around team win led by some hot shooting from both Sharpe in the mid-range and Simons from 3, 8 threes for Ant. We're going to break it all down. We're also going to give our reaction on this postgame show to Joe Cronin's press conference reaction, his comments to media, as he spoke to media at about 4:45 Pacific time. We're going to give our thoughts on what he said and put a bow on the deadline tonight before we move on. The Blazers with 3 games until the All-Star break. Eric, what's going on, man? How's it going? The Blazers are I mean, they're I don't even know. They're winning. They're winning. I was going to say good, but maybe they're just great. Maybe they're contenders. I don't know, man. They can't lose. 6 in a row. Is that the longest winning streak since, like, the Western Conference Finals year? I mean, when was the last time this team won 6 games? I can't remember, but how's it going, man? You enjoy this one?
Yeah, man. Another fun win. Blazers are absolutely rolling. It's exciting to see. Every time it looked like this game was starting to slip away, they had a huge basket and kept it within, a couple points. And, yeah, man, just Ant took over, and Sharpe kept us alive for most of this game. We didn't really have it for a lot of the game offensively. A lot of people were struggling on that end. So it was good to see them gut out a defensive win. And this team can just win in so many different ways. And this is something that we talked about with the personnel when we were frustrated with the coaching and the lack of style, the lack of an identity. It's like we felt like this team had players that could do different things that weren't being utilized properly. So it's nice to finally see some of them do things the way they should be doing them, and having that result in wins too at the same time. So yeah, just another enjoyable game. This win streak continues, and it's really interesting. They go on the road for 3 games now. Minnesota, and then 2 against Denver, right? If I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, it's going to be a true test. It's going to be I can pull up the schedule right away. One of the reasons I want to do it is, Eric, there is no red on this schedule, not even in any of the logos.
Wow.
Well, I guess Denver has a little bit of red, but with the effect we have on the logos, it doesn't really look red. No red. Look at all that green. Look at all those W's. Now, all home games, so it's a litmus test. 2 good teams, 3 road games before the All-Star break. And this, I think, is going to be the stretch that is going to either prove the Blazers are legit, or maybe speak to the fact that the Blazers have had a ton of home games and keep playing teams on the second night of a back-to-back. Sacramento was on the second night of a back-to-back in this one. So I'm really looking forward to these next 3 games because I think they're going to be very telling. But it's cool to see all green on the left side of this graphic, huh?
Yeah, very cool. Like you said, I don't think we've ever had that with Blazers Uprise. So, yeah, pretty awesome. I guess, I don't know if they won 6 in a row, but didn't they go like 7-1 in the bubble or something like that, and then they won the play-in game? It was something similar like that. I think that's the last time I can remember them having this good of a stretch. But, yeah, just like I said, fun win, and let's keep it rolling, man. I mean, they decided to keep this team together. Might as well see what they can do, and that was what we'll get into Joe's comments. But one thing he did say was that it would be unfair to this team to take that away from them trying to compete for a playing spot. So if they're going to let them play, might as well win games, right? Not falter. So the more wins, the better, in my opinion, from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, I've given up any dreams of Cooper Flag or even Ace Bailey at this point. You know, the tank is kind of out the window, right? They've won more games than last year already, 23 and 29. Only 6 games below 500, but also for winning 10 out of 11 games, they're still 6 games under 500. You know what I mean? So, still trying to claw their way back to 500. They're going to have to be at least a 500 team in order to have any chance at the play-in that fans are dreaming about right now. But we will take a look at the standings here later on in the stream and see how close the Blazers are. They're 3 games out of a play-in, so you're getting closer. The goal ultimately is not a 10 seed. If you get it naturally, great. But, you know, we'll talk about Cronin's comments later. He said he didn't let this stretch affect his decision-making, and I have some thoughts on that. I think it was a good thing to hear, but also I think it shows something else. But yeah, the Blazers continue to defend. The Kings only shoot 33% from 3, 42% from the field. And the Blazers kind of scrapped this one out. You know, Tamani did not have a good shooting game. Jeremy Grant did not have a good shooting game. Avdia was quiet, only played 18 minutes, hurt his wrist or something, which I didn't catch. But, you know, he started off hitting 2 threes right at the start of the game and then did not play much due to that. Had 9 points in 18 minutes. And then off the bench, like Scoot, 22 minutes. It looked like he tweaked something. He was 2 for 5, 1 for 3 from 3. I believe the other shot was a foot on the line, long 2. Nice to see him continue to hit jump shots. But he had 8 assists, 4 turnovers, so he made some plays. But it was really just Sharp, Anthony Simons, DeAndre Ayton offensively. Those were the only guys with more than 12 points. And the only guys that shot the ball particularly well on any sort of volume. And it was Sharp getting going in the first half. He had 10 points in the first 5 minutes. Anthony Simons, 8 for 12 from 3. 8 threes for him. 6 assists, 2 turnovers. Just a really solid, good game from Anthony Simons. It's going to be interesting to see how a guy like Simons plays the rest of the season. You know, his name was probably in some trade talks, trade discussions between Joe Cronin and other general managers, other front offices, but he's still here in Portland, right? And he wanted a winner. He wanted to play for a competitive team. Well, his team's competitive right now, so he contributed it. He contributed to it tonight with his 30-point masterpiece. If he doesn't shoot the ball like this, the Blazers don't win this game. And this, I think, for those of you that are dreaming of a play-in, this was an important game to win. Last game of a 7-game homestand against a team you're trying to chase that just traded their best player in De'Aaron Fox. This was a very important game to take care of. Still a solid team, because you got Zach LaVine there now, and he had a 22-point game. You still got DeMar DeRozan there. He got hot in the second half, but the Blazers withstood it, fouled out Domantas Sabonis, and kind of held him in check, which was nice to see. And then the Kings bench, man. The Kings bench is kind of brutal. Not much contribution there. Blazers get the dub. What stood out to you from this game?
Yeah, I thought the team, for the first time in a few games, got off to kind of a rough start. It looked like the Kings were taking control of the game. That hadn't happened. We'd gotten down early, but it was usually like we'd have a little lull in the first quarter, like midway through the first quarter. Tonight, it was kind of more towards the beginning. And that was more reminiscent of earlier in the season. But Sharp came in, and his, you mentioned quick 10 points, I think it was. I think that was key in kind of just steadying the Blazers a little bit. And then the defense, man, we did give up some shots still, but when you have players like DeRozan and stuff, like you want to make them beat you from 3-point line. And, he made a couple in the second half, but you live with those results with a player like him. He did get hot on his mid-range as well, but I think overall the defense was flying around. We didn't give up too many easy buckets at the basket. Um, they don't really have a lob threat, so they can't take advantage of some of our drop schemes and stuff like that. But I think overall the defense impressed me, and then Sharp and Simons just scoring the ball when we needed them to was just enough to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me thank VFO for a $2 Canadian donation. Says, haters going to say today means Cronin did a good job. Yeah, I don't want to get into that too early on in this stream. You guys know how we feel about the deadline if you watched the stream earlier today. We're not happy about the inactivity, but I think listening to his press conference, I'll tease what we're going to talk about. I don't think it was necessarily due to his head being in the wrong place. Maybe it was more so just due to not executing well enough on what he was supposed to do. All right, so I'll just preface it with that. I'll get into my thoughts later, though. Thank you for the $2 Canadian donation via VFO. Appreciate you. You guys can vote in the player of the game poll. It's pretty obvious who it's going to be. Anthony Simons, 70% of the vote. Actually, I'll just end it now. 300 votes. Anthony Simons, your player of the game with his 30
votes. Awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If only we could get 300 likes instead of 38. 38 likes is brutal. Leave a like on the stream. Easiest way to support us. So it's kind of tough to do a post-game show, I'll be honest. Just burnt out from the deadline, man. So much work goes into the trade deadline coverage, trade deadline streams. Like, I've been working 16-hour days basically all week between the channel, day job, and everything. And I mean, like, there's a lot of days, wake up at 9 a.m., and to stream at midnight, and I'm just nonstop doing something for basically the entire time. So I've had some it's nice to like be past the deadline, so to say, right? It's nice to be past the deadline. It's nice that that's over. We're not going to talk trades anymore, of course. Maybe at some point we'll preview the offseason and what that could look like for the Portland Trail Blazers, but it's going to be a lot of the same conversations that we had leading up to the trade deadline, and at this point kind of tired of those. So it's kind of nice just to, we're going to put a bow on it tonight, but focus on some basketball, focus on some Blazer wins, and focus on this team playing well. So let's start with Ant. Let's start with our player of the game. Didn't really do much inside the arc. Got to the line 4 times, 6 assists. This was just a three-point shooting masterclass from him. Hit a couple tough threes and hit like timely threes throughout this game. It felt like every time the Kings went on a run or like barely got the lead there in the second half, an Ant 3 would kind of steady the tide for us. As a team, we shoot 40%, 16 for 40, but Ant has half of those threes, 8 of them. So, it's always impressive to see a guy make 8 threes, but I think his were like very timely tonight as well.
Yeah, and anytime you score 30 points off 16 shots, you'll take that, right? And that goes to we have a lot of players right now who can score the basketball, and it's nice to see a balanced effort where Sharp gets 18 shots, Aton gets 14, Grant gets 11, Tamani gets 13, and only makes 2 of them. But yeah, my point is, everyone got the ball, got an opportunity to score. It wasn't like Anthony just had to shoot every time and score. Like you mentioned, they were timely shots. We needed him to make a basket because there were times we weren't really doing much on offense, and it's good to always have a player who can create like that. But it's also good when he plays through the flow of the game for most of the game and takes over when necessary, and that kind of lets everyone get in a flow. And it didn't result really in a huge offensive outburst tonight outside of him and Sharp, but I just feel like overall, if you have that kind of balance with your shot distribution, it's going to pay dividends more often than not, and usually result in more than 108 points. And if we're holding opponents the way we've been holding them lately on defense, I don't see how we can't be a pretty good team in terms of win-loss moving forward if we're playing this good a defense and also getting contributions from multiple people on offense, whether that happened tonight or not.
Yeah, it all starts with the defense. That's where it all starts with this team. Because you only put 108 on the board against a Kings team that is not impressive defensively at all. That's actually probably one of the reasons why De'Aaron Fox left. But you're able to defend them. And at some points in this game, Levine got his, DeRozan got his. I feel like the Blazers have done a good job of making other guys struggle, right? Where you can have Booker or KD get his, but other guys aren't going to get theirs, right? And you just kind of live with what the opposing stars give you, and you make sure that nobody else gets hot, nobody else gets going. That's kind of been the MO, it feels like. But also you've had games where the Blazers have locked up stars, right? Tyrese Halliburton didn't score against the Blazers. So, some games it looks a little bit different. But this team is rotating better. They're flying around. We talked about it on a recent postgame show. The energy level is what it needs to be, right? For the most part. From most players, night in, night out, the energy level is very high and where it needs to be. And then we're not getting destroyed on the glass anymore because that was one of the biggest problems, right? You give up 11 offensive rebounds. I don't know what they average, but it just feels like that's gotten a little bit better. At one point earlier in the season, the Blazers were the worst defensive rebounding team. I'll actually look up what they are right now and let you guys know in a second, but I believe it's at least trending upwards. So, yeah, let's look here. Blazers defensive rebound percentage still ranks second to last, but I guess at least it's not last. So, you got to finish off possessions. You got to rebound the ball better. Honestly, I think that's the biggest problem defensively with the Blazers right now, and it has been all season. They've had some games where they've done better recently, which is nice to see, and that's why they're able to kind of contain some of these teams. But, if they were just a solid defensive rebounding team, then you would look a lot better. But I also think maybe some of it is part of them trying to run and leak out so not everybody's crashing the glass. But I do think a big part of it is there's just games where DeAndre Ayton is not interested in boxing out or battling for boards. Like there was a possession where Sabonis got multiple offensive rebounds on him, just out hustled him and couldn't convert. So it was fine, I guess, but plays like that, Ayton's inconsistent with his defensive rebounding. And then we know about Jeremy Grant and his defensive rebounding struggles. So, that's kind of the problem with those two guys. They don't really help us on the glass some nights, and it does hurt our defensive rebounding. But everything leading up to like the shots guys are shooting, it's not like we're leaving guys wide open for threes. It's not like we're getting cooked off the dribble all the time. It's just solid defense, and it's been a long time since we've seen it in Portland.
Yeah, and the other things that I've been focused on lately, fast break points for both us and the opponent. Now, the Kings get 20 in this game, but it felt like a lot of those were very early in the game when they started to take a lead, and we shored that up, I think, in the second half. I forgot to look at halftime to see what that was exactly, so I may be off a little bit, but it felt like most of those happened in the first quarter when we were not getting back on defense and turning the ball a lot over in the first half. And only 10 fast break points for Portland. So when you look at the 108 points we scored, you have to wonder if that not getting out and running very well in this game contributed to that. We know Denny, whether it was due to injury or what, didn't play as many minutes as we were hoping he would play. And then Scoot goes out of the game, like you mentioned. So those two players have obviously contributed a ton to our rise in fast break points recently. And so if those two aren't in the lineup as much, it's going to suffer, but still have to find a way to push the tempo and get more than 10 fast break points, in my opinion, against most teams. But the turnovers, man, 11 in the first half. It looked like we were playing really sloppy again. But then they totally turned it around in the second half. One of the games against Phoenix, I think they did this too. They had a bunch of turnovers in the first half and hardly had any in the second half, but only 2 turnovers in the second half. And without taking care of the ball, I think in that second half, I think we lose this game. So good to see them snap out of it in the second half, take care of the ball, and get back in transition. 2 key things in this stretch run.
Yeah, because that's one of the things they've been doing in order to score enough points is they've been taking care of the ball. And earlier in the season, there was a lot of games where it was like maybe in the half court the Blazers were playing some solid defense, but they'd turn over the ball, it'd lead to easy buckets going the other way. So not only was it killing their offense, they were giving up points in transition off of a lot of their turnovers. And I think part of the reason why they've looked better on both sides of the floor is they're at least taking care of the ball, and they are when you're not turning over the ball, it's a lot easier to set up in the half-court defense, and the Blazers' half-court defense has been good. Now, I also think they're doing a better job defending in transition and getting back and running back on defense, but I think the turnovers tell a huge story. So you said they had 10 in the first half?
11 in the first half.
11 in the first half. They finished with 13, so second half, 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers in the second half for your Blazers. And the points off turnover battle wasn't great. Sacramento scored 15 points off 13 Blazer turnovers. The Blazers only scored 7 points off 11 Sacramento turnovers, and Blazers lost a fast break battle 20-10. But it's also promising that they're able to win a game in the half court, because in the half court the Blazers definitely outperformed Sacramento, right? It's like Sacramento did a better job getting out on the break. Sacramento did a better job converting points off turnovers. Sacramento got to the free throw line a little bit more. But in terms of half-court offense versus half-court defense, the Blazers outplayed them. That's a good sign, because the Blazers' half-court offense, up until recently, has been horrible, right? And a lot of that has fallen on Chauncey Billups. A lot of that has fallen on how he sets up plays, how he sets up players, being super stagnant, and this and that. Where even if the Blazers have a decent defensive game in the past, they've still lost because their half-court offense has been atrocious. That's gotten a lot better, and now, lately, they've been capable of outperforming a team in the half court on a whole. So in a game like this where you weren't able to get out and run a whole lot, you weren't able to score a bunch of points off opponent turnovers, you didn't get to the free throw line more, you didn't get a ton of points in the paint, 38-32 is pretty even, right? We know the Blazers attacked the rim at one of the highest rates in the league. None of that stuff was really in your favor, and you still win a basketball game. That's the thing is you want to build that identity, right, of we're going to attack the rim, we're going to play hard, we're going to run, we're going to, play feisty defense. On some nights, you might not be able to get out and run. On some nights, it might be tough getting to the rim and converting. Can you still do the other things well? Because we've preached identity in this team figuring out what they want to be good at as a whole and what they want their identity to be on both sides of the floor. But that doesn't mean just you have to do that all the time or that's all you do, right? That's what you specialize in. Some nights it's not going to be going for you. You got to be able to win games in other ways if you want to be a good basketball team in this league, and the Blazers have been able to do it. Now, they shoot 40% from 3, so they've been shooting better. But that's where the three-point ball is kind of the great equalizer there, so you outshoot the Sacramento Kings. But that's the thing. The Blazers have had some games they haven't shot a ton of threes, haven't made a lot of threes, and have still been able to win because of those other things. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign for sure.
Yes. Yep, winning games, when you have an identity, especially if it's an identity where you do all the little things to win games, it's really tough to overcome if you're an opponent, especially going on the road. And if you just out hustle teams to loose balls and stuff, which I don't think the Blazers did a great job of tonight, but they have been doing a much better job during this stretch. It's just cool to see them win because they're playing the right way and getting contributions from multiple people on both ends. Chat's going a little off the rails, but it's good to see, man. And someone like Anthony and Jeremy and maybe even Aton, players like that, they can now kind of relax mentally the rest of the season. Not in terms of taking it easy on the court, but those thoughts in their mind, am I going to be here next week or whatever, those can all go away, so they can play a little bit more focused now and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a good mix, I think. And Chauncey's been coaching better too, it seems like. So it's all contributing to good performances and obviously multiple wins.
Yeah, Chat, are you 100% sold yet? Like, is this stretch enough for you? Because for me, I need to see these next 3 games on the road against good teams. I need to see if the Blazers are competitive in all these games, or if like 2 of them are a blowout loss and then one of them's a loss and they lose 3 in a row, right? Like, and they look kind of like they did before this stretch. That's going to be a bit worrying because these are good opponents, but the Blazers have been beating good opponents. It's just they've had rest advantages and it's been at home. So this is a 3-game litmus test that they have coming up against Minnesota and then back-to-back games against Denver. This is their litmus test. We're going to go into the All-Star break either feeling really, really good about this team and like legitimately maybe having a chance at pushing towards a plan. Because if you can win, 3 of these games, even if you go 2-1, that's still pretty good against these opponents. Like that's a good thing, okay? But if you lose all 3, right? It's like, all right, man. Well, they finally go on the road and play good opponents on the road, and they're back to their old ways, right? So this is going to be really interesting, and I don't think this 3-game stretch could come at a better time. I think it's going to be good for the Blazers after building some momentum at home, playing good basketball, developing as a team on this massive home stretch they've had. I think it's good that they now go on the road and are going to get tested against Minnesota, who's been playing better, and Denver, who has been playing really well lately as well. Have Nikola Jokic, right? Are you able to contain him at all? This defense has been really, really good lately. Is it able to be effective against Anthony Edwards? Is it able to be effective against Nikola Jokic? 2 of the best players in the game. So, some fans might be like, oh, no, it's going to be hard to keep our winning streak up. I like that they're about to get tested with this 3-game road trip, and I like that we're going to be able to go into the All-Star break after this litmus test, and I think know a lot about the team. Of course, based on this 11-game stretch, because this 11-game stretch is some of the best basketball I've seen in quite a long time from the Blazers, but also I think these 3 games are very important for determining what this team is going to be the rest of the season.
Yeah, obviously if you win all 3 or 2 out of 3, I think you can definitely start to believe in this team being for real and having a chance at the play-in. At the same time, I mean, if they're competitive in all 3 games and go 0-3, I don't necessarily think that means this is a fluke or bad or anything, because like most teams would have trouble playing Minnesota and Denver at their places right now because both of those teams have been playing well over the last couple weeks. So I don't think it's necessarily the be-all, end-all, be-all if they lose these games, but like you said, good litmus test for where we're at right now, going on the road against tough teams.
Yeah, I'll phrase it this way, right? Winning or losing these games isn't necessarily super meaningful for determining where they're at. Like if they have 3 really competitive close losses that are like heartbreakers down the stretch, yeah, you can still feel very good about this team and the progress they've made going into the break. But if you have dreams of a play-in, these are the types of games that they're going to have to win. Okay? Which it's weird. It's just weird because we haven't had conversations like this in quite some time, right? But it's like, yeah, you can feel good about a loss, but if you're trying to make up a 23-29 record, you're going to have to reach 500. The schedule gets tougher. You have a lot of road games. You're going to have to beat good teams on the road. That's the only way they're going to have any chance at all of making a play-in, is beating good teams on the road. So that's why I think this is a good litmus test for that. I think we're going to know if they go 0-3, Eric, and there's 3 close losses, we can feel good about it. But at that point, like, yeah, they have no chance of a play-in. You know what I mean? There are going to be 9 games below 500. And you're not going to make that up in 27 games after the break. You'd have to go 18-9 to get to 500. That might not even be good enough for the 10th seed. And 18-9 is going to be tough against that sort of schedule. So, that's where you got to win. You got to win a couple of these games here before the All-Star break if you really want the Blazers to be playing extra basketball.
Yeah, and then, play all out because you got a long break. And then coming back from the All-Star break, we got a very fun game against the Lakers. And then what should be a winnable or win against the Hornets at home.
Yep.
But that Lakers game I'm really looking forward to too, with Luka's back and it's always fun to watch LeBron. However, the Blazers do have a history, even when they're bad, of catching good teams right before the All-Star break and right after the All-Star break. You can kind of catch a team thinking about the rest they're about to get, or in this case, you have like Jokic going to the All-Star game. His mind might be elsewhere at the time. Sometimes you can sneak a win against a good team in there. We did that against Golden State a couple times when Golden State was really good, like just getting a win around the All-Star break. So maybe one of the or two of those games won't be litmus tests as they look like on paper.
Yeah, but also the Blazers are the hottest team in the league. They're not going to sneak up on anybody at this point. They've won 10 out of 11. You know what I mean? Like that's the tough part about having such a good stretch. All of a sudden, you're going to have a target on your back because you're not going in there as like, oh, the lottery Blazers, they're not good, and maybe a team underestimates them. No, you're going in there winners of 10 of 11 and the hottest team in the league right now. So it's a little different.
Yeah, but the Blazers, they have some people participating in the Rise of Stars game. Could possibly make it to the All-Star game. Tamani and Scoot are on the same team, so that'll be fun to watch. But I don't think it's like the same. I feel like this team is focused on the task at hand in these games and isn't going to be thinking as much about this break as teams like Denver, who have had to rely so heavily on their rotation players all season. I don't know. You can be thinking about your vacation a little bit in some of these games. So I don't know, man. The fact that we play them twice in a row, if they beat us Monday or something, maybe we can get them on Wednesday. I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling one of those two games, either the Laker game or the last Denver game, will have something kind of funky like that.
The Laker game? You mean the Timberwolves?
No, I'm talking about the game before the break and after the break.
Oh, after the
first
break.
game. One of those two games, I think, will be something will happen weird where a team doesn't show up or something. I hope it's not us, but
yeah. I just think they're gonna have a target on their backs, man. They're playing that well, and a team like Denver is gonna want to prove you guys are not that good. A team like Minnesota, we're gonna want to prove we're legit. You're not. You've had a nice little run, but especially at home before the break, I think the Blazers are gonna have a tough challenge in front of them, but I'm excited to see if they're up to it or not, and it's gonna be very telling, man. If they get blown out in all three games or something crazy, or they look like they did before this stretch, I'm kind of going right back to Chauncey got to go, you know what I mean? Struggles at sustaining any sort of success. And, it's just if you've truly, actually, legitimately made progress towards building an identity, that doesn't just go away because you play good teams on the road. So that's what I'm excited to see, because this is the most progress they've made towards finding an identity under Chauncey Billups probably ever in this 11-game stretch, but it's going to be tested. And it needs to be tested. You don't want to skate the rest of the season. Yeah, they might rack up enough wins to make a play, but you don't want to skate the rest of the season and, not know what this team is truly made of.
Yeah.
Who else you want to talk about from this one?
Do we have any donations?
Yeah, we have a lot of donations to read off. Do you want to read those off? Starting with, do you know who to start with? We got Himothy, $5 donation. I'll read this one. You can read the rest. Himothy, $5 donation says, we appreciate all the time and effort y'all put into this channel. Yeah, man. I appreciate the recognition for that, because there is a lot of work that goes into the channel, and I'm glad that you appreciate it, man. It means a lot to me, as, I slept 4 hours last night just trying to get the stream ready. It's some wild stuff, man. Maybe one day I'll hire someone to record a behind the scenes of building these streams and stuff and all the work that goes into it. So thank you for the donation, and I appreciate it. All right.
That was Himothy's first super chat, so thanks for that as well. He's been a channel member for 6 months, but appreciate the support. And people like you make comments, and it's really nice to hear, but we also appreciate people like you, Himothy, who are always in chat and are in here on almost every stream, and that's shows us support and makes it of the time all worth it.
Yep. Also, I just like saying Himothy.
Yeah.
All right. And then we had a couple $2 donations, Eric.
Yeah, KGB 503 left two $2 donations. Unfortunately, there's no message attached. I did ask if he had a message to include. I did see him comment about giving Chauncey a break, that he's still learning how to be a good coach and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if that's what he meant to leave on those messages, but that's the only thing I saw from him. But if you wanted to say anything else, KJB, tag me in the chat, and I'll be sure to read that off later if you have any other comments.
Yep, we appreciate that, and I'll just say this on Chauncey, man. I mean, if he is learning stuff right now, took you long enough, but at least he's making some sort of progress, I guess.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
John Nash with a $10 donation. If Cronin's excuse for no trades was to reward the players and not take it away from them in the future, then how does he justify not playing Williams by not trading Grant? Williams deserves PT.
I don't think that's what he meant by like not taking away from the players and rewarding them. I think that was in reference to them going for a play-in spot and basically not pulling the plug and tanking.
Right. I don't think they're going to sit people with fake injuries this year. And
yeah. Unless they like, if their performance really falls off the cliff, it becomes obvious. Like, yeah, they have no chance, which it could in 10 games from now. You know what I mean? Like, if they go 2-8 or something, yeah, they obviously have no chance, right? So you're gonna know whether they have a chance or not, you know, pretty soon, because they're gonna have to win a lot of these games. So you could still get some tanking, but basically, if they have a chance, they're not gonna start tanking. Is essentially what Cronin was saying, which makes sense.
You know what's hilarious, Tori?
What's that?
When we traded Josh Hart, weren't we the 10th seed?
Were we?
I think we were the 10th seed at the time. Or like right around the 10th seed. And I think the Lakers were behind us or something, and they made a couple moves and passed us up and ended up making the conference finals or whatever. But what a difference, like, that team, like, everyone was like, oh, we're giving up on the season, and they pulled the plug and stuff, even though we still had a legit chance of making the playoffs. And this team is like 4.5 games back or whatever going into tonight, and like everyone's like, oh, we gotta go for the play-in, right? Like, it's such a difference. And yeah,
everybody is like, here's what it is, man. It's been long enough since we've had postseason basketball that thought of postseason basketball is like fun and exciting and new again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. And I kind of feel it. Like, I get it. I kind of feel it myself, right? Where final day of the regular season, that it's not our last game, would be cool, because the assumption was this was going to be our 4th straight season with the channel. This is season number 6, okay? This is going to be the 4th straight season where we didn't have postseason basketball. Like, back when the last time we were in the playoffs, like, I kind of had no idea still what I was doing on YouTube. Like, we knew we did our post-game shows, but it was still fresh. It was still new. We hadn't really built the community yet. Like, it was not like it is now. So we've never gotten to experience the playoffs or even any postseason basketball with the channel the way it's been built up now. So just the thought of a playing game, like previewing a playing game, right? Because like previews for regular season games have never done well on this channel, but like a preview for a playing game is definitely going to be sought after. Previewing a one and done, you know, move on or you're going home type of game, and then we probably do a watch party for that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, you know? Like, there's a lot of cool stuff, fun stuff that would come with just a playing game. So I get it, but also at the same time, it's like, still, the long-term vision is we want to see this team win championships one day, and if it takes longer to make a play-in to increase our odds of winning a championship in the next decade, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just weird because, you know, we still had Dame on that team and talk him into sitting, like, but when you have Dame, you always have a chance, right? So, like, it's just kind of funny that this team, we're like, yeah, we need to go for it, even though we have to jump 3 teams, you know, but back with Dame, we're like, no, we're done going for it. Let's just pull the plug and get a high pick and then trade Dame and all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the standings here in a second. We have other donations.
Yeah. Blaze the Nugs is next. By the way, thank you, John Nash, for your donation. Blaze the Nugs, also with a $10 donation. Thank you, Tori and Eric, for all the work you put into the trade deadline streams and nightly post-game streams. It's appreciated. Once again, I'd like to echo the comments that I said earlier. Blaze the Nugs, you're in almost every chat. Like I saw you say earlier, I don't remember if that was today or after the last game, but that you're kind of sick of the Blazers or whatever, but that you continue to support us, and people like you make it fun, even though we don't always agree. Like, you're proof that we don't necessarily hate people who have differing opinions. Like, you've gone at me all season about certain things, Blaze the Nugs, and I still respect your opinion or whatever. So, like,
you just like his username.
I mean, I'm not into blazing Nugs, so except for if it's the Denver Nuggets. But
we'll see if we can.
Hopefully, we blaze the Nugs in 2 out of our next 3 games. Brady C with that $2 donation asked, "What's the highest upside prospects in the 8 to 12 range?" Kind of.
Yegor Demon. We're gonna have a mock draft next stream, so
yeah,
we can have that conversation then. Because it's hard to even think about the draft because it's all been focused on the deadline. The Blazers are winning, man. Like, I haven't watched college basketball in a minute, so I need to tap back in.
They made the playoffs. We don't have a pick in this draft. Just saying. But yeah, I think in that 8 to 12 range, I think highest upside, just real quick, Demon, Derek Queen, Asa Newell. I think those are the guys that you want to look at. If one of, like, Trey Johnson or someone like that falls to 8, I don't think he will, but, if he does, it's also somebody to look at. Cam Jones is probably the best player we could get in that range.
Yeah.
But do you take a Cam Jones? Does it make sense to take, like, an older player that is better right now, or do you swing for upside? We'll have to have that debate yet again, Tori. But, like, especially if we keep Simons through the off season, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to get a Cam Jones. But we'll have to see on that one.
Yeah, we'll have those conversations tomorrow on the mock draft for sure.
Yeah. Extrovert with a $5 donation. What are your thoughts on potentially bringing Ant off the bench as a Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford type role going forward?
I mean, he's arguably our most talented player. I don't like the idea of benching Ant when he's playing well right now. Just to start Scoot or Sharp, like, it should be you either trade Ant or you trade other guys and start, 2 guards, maybe even 3 guards. I know the defense is going to be rough there, but the offense is going to be better, right? So I'm not of the train of thought that Ant should come off the bench, at least right now. Once Scoot and Sharp develop a little bit more, then, it could maybe be the best 6th man in the league. But until they surpass him, it's just like you're bringing your best guard right now off the bench is strange.
For at least the last month, they've been taking him out 45 minutes into the game, first quarter anyway. So he's been coming back in with the bench at the end of the first quarter. I just think they need to tweak it a little bit so that Scoot and Sharp get similar minutes to Anthony. And as long as they do that, I don't think it really matters this season who starts and all that kind of stuff.
I think it matters because I think it'd be good to give the keys to Scoot and, like, put him in the starting lineup like you're our guy, right?
Yeah.
And just see how that goes. But he's been better as a starter this year, so I think it matters because there is a difference in production with him as a starter versus off the bench. He's been better as a starter statistically.
Well, I do agree with that. I think this is why we had the debate over why Jeremy Grant being traded opens up that possibility too, and why we're kind of frustrated with that. But for me, I just want him to make it work so that we don't have games where Scoot and Sharp are only playing 20 minutes. Like, make it at least, if you're going to start Ant, which I get, like, play them all as equally as possible. And if it results in less wins but more development, that's better. If you have to play those guys less to win games, I don't think that's what's best for this team moving forward, even if it's more fun in the short term.
Yep, absolutely. Um, okay, let's break down this game a little
We
bit
got
more
one
then.
more.
All right, one more, and then let's break down. We need to talk
Uh,
about Sharp.
Boom. Tyler
Boom.
had a member for 3 month message. Glad to put the trade deadline behind us, regardless of my feelings towards the lack of action. Fully embracing this team and run moving forward. Appreciate you guys as always. Let's enjoy the ride now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen. Even in the wins, there's gonna be stuff that maybe I don't like that I'm gonna keep vocalizing, despite some people thinking I shouldn't always be positive about literally everything if they win a game. Like tonight, there's a couple things that maybe I'll get into here in a second, but still enjoying the wins, enjoying like not necessarily rooting for losses at this point, being resigned to the fact that like yeah they're not gonna get Cooper Flag. I mean, even if we were at the top of the lottery, probably would have gotten screwed. That's just kind of the way things go. So it's actually kind of nice to just not sit there like dreaming about that, and that's our only hope right now.
Yeah, for me, and a lot of people get confused by this, and please listen when I say this. You can differentiate and separate having fun watching this team play, enjoying the win streak, but also being disappointed that they didn't make long-term moves for the betterment of this team moving forward. They're two separate things. So while we are frustrated with the lack of moves, our salary cap situation still being kind of in a weird spot for a rebuilding team and all that stuff that we've talked about, we can also still enjoy them playing better basketball and enjoy them actually winning games and stuff like that. That doesn't have to be one or the other. We can't just say because we don't like what Joe Cronin's doing, we can't also have fun that we've won 10 out of 11. Like, this is the best stretch of basketball we've seen on this channel pretty much. Like, we want to we want to see them win games and stuff, and we want to see these players develop. Like, it's been an absolute joy watching Scoot play this year and develop and turn into a really good NBA player. And this is stuff that is fun as a fan. So we can there's ways to enjoy the team on the court, but also be frustrated with the lack of moves and long-term focus of the front office.
Yep, absolutely. Real quick, let's talk about Sharp, then we'll take a look at the standings. Well, let's talk about Sharp, then let's talk about Aton, I guess, because there was people at the beginning of the stream being weird, like begging me to thank Aton for scoring 19 points. And just Aton stands are weird, man. I don't even think he scored 19. Did he score 19 points? No, he didn't even score 19 points. He scored 18 points. They're begging me to thank him for scoring 19 points. Like, we'll talk about Sharp first, though. 24 points, 9 for 18 from the field in 31 minutes. 4 boards, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, plus 11 team high. Really kept this team in the game in the first half because the Blazers look like maybe this game could slip away from them a little bit in the first half. And Sharp came in 10 points, 5 minutes, steadied the tide. Timely buckets from him. Some nice mid-range shots, nice baseline reverse. I mean, he just makes scoring look so easy, but he hit tough shots tonight too. Good to see him have a big game off the bench. Still wish he was in the starting lineup, but he's had some decent performances off the bench. It's just like tough when the last 3 games he played 25, 19, and 24 minutes. Here's the thing, too, is like people saying, oh, they're still playing enough minutes. Nah, 19 to 25 minutes a game is not enough for Sharp. He plays 31 tonight. He should be playing at least 30 minutes a game, even off the bench. So I'm able to kind of like deal with it. But you know what it is, Eric? It's like he had to score 10 points in 5 minutes to play 30 minutes tonight. So I kind of got a problem with that, but I love the way he played tonight. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought he was aggressive. Maybe settled for the 3 a little too much, but he made some tough ones. He had that incredible shot just inside the 3-point line on that step back the second half. Um, Man, he hit a bunch of tough shots, and like I said earlier in the stream, his scoring in the first half kind of kept us in the game. I think he got a little tired at the end, but I don't know, just really good offensive game from him. I thought he was decent on defense. He didn't end up with I don't know if he ended up with a steal in this game. I don't remember, but he had 2 or 3 where he's really seeing those cross court passes well on defense lately. We saw last game him get a steal and a breakaway dunk off of it. He almost had a couple tonight where he read a pass, a cross court pass, and jumped the route. This game it just happened to not get his hand on the ball, but it's really good to see him kind of reading the floor like that, and that's going to result in some good steals and some awesome dunks from him if he continues that. You're muted.
Oh, bummer. Is he becoming Matisse Thybulle defensively?
Maybe. Yeah, because I don't know if his individual one-on-one defense is still up to par, but it's nice to see him not falling asleep as much on.
Yeah, he's having good and bad moments, and there's times where he still loses focus. The focus thing, I think, is, I brought that up on a recent stream. I do really think that's what it is. His biggest problem is he'll lose focus on his guy, right? And he has to get better at seeing ball and man and kind of position his body to be in a position where you can see the ball, see your guy, make sure you don't get back cut, but also see the ball so you can try to anticipate some of these passes because he's quick, has really long arms, right? So it's good to see him have some good moments defensively after getting benched for his defense. The offense, though, the tough shot making tonight was beautiful to watch. And the mid-range shots, man, he shot some really tough ones, I feel like, today that he made. Yeah. It's really hard to make a living off of those. I would like to see him try and get a little bit closer and get a little bit better at, extending and rising up below the free throw line. You look at Devin Booker, how high his set point is on some of these little 10-foot pull-ups. I'd like to see Sharp learn that, and Sharp has talked about watching a lot of Devin Booker and kind of modeling himself a little bit after Devin Booker. I think that's something for him to learn, because a lot of his mid-range shots are 17, 18-footers, step backs, really tough shots. It's nice that he hits them. It's such a tough shot, so it's testament to him being able to hit tough step backs, tough shots off the dribble at 21 years of age. I would like to see him try and add a little bit around 10 feet where he's able to rise up guys a little bit better, right? Because once he gets below the free throw line, he's just going straight into guys, and I feel like if he could add that, it would be nice. But what I'm impressed with is some of his fast break layups, man. He's such a good jumper, and he's starting to learn he can use that to make guys kind of just overreact when he's driving and easily get past him for layups. He had a play where he looked like he was going to rise up, so the defender jumped, and then he just took 2 of the most casual steps to the rim and laid it up because the defender's jumping 5 feet away from the rim, That sort of stuff is cool because his athleticism, while everybody loves it when it's a big dunk, he can also use that to make defenders jump, or he can really use that to get himself easy finishes, easy layups around the rim. He doesn't just have to dunk on everyone, and he's starting to figure that out, and especially in transition. He was really good last year too, pushing the ball in transition. That's been really good. So love the game he had tonight. It was good to see him make 3 threes. Now it's 3 for 9, so the percentage isn't going to benefit a whole lot. He's still shooting only 32% from 3 on the season, so got to get that up. But he's shooting threes, he's shooting them confidently, and it's not like defenses can just disrespect him. And he had a pull up in transition. He's shooting the ball confidently. I don't think it's a confidence issue for him shooting the 3 ball. He doesn't seem to care if he misses, but. Yeah, good game from him. Good game from him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about Aton. So What'd you think of Aton today? Like, offensively, he got 4 free throws. That was nice. He shot 50% on twos. That's not the best efficiency. 8 rebounds, 4 assists. You like to see the assists at 4 for him with only 1 turnover. That was nice. Defense had some rough moments, I think. What'd you think of him?
Yeah, I thought he was okay tonight. Not like outstanding, but not terrible either. There was a point, I think it was in the second quarter, where he had like just a handful of possessions on both ends in a row where he seemed to be just kind of goofing around out there, not really boxing out. That was when that possession that Sabonis had him, just outworked him for a couple of offensive rebounds. Yeah, I mean, it's what you're going to have to deal with Aiden, and it's exactly why we're not fully bought in on him like a lot of people. But, I'll take this. He wasn't, like, terrible or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a play that kind of epitomizes Aton for me. So there was a play where, like, Sacramento's in transition, right? And I forget who the big man was, if it was Sabonis or if it was Valanciunas. But, like, Aton's pretty even with the big, but their big is sprinting the floor. And Aton's just kind of jogging. So their big sprints down the floor, makes somebody else pick him up. So then Aton, because he's just jogging down the floor back in transition, he's not sprinting back with his guy, has to pick up a guard, right? So he ends up switched onto a guard, and then like a couple of passes, he just like leaves. He like leaves the guard and just leaves him completely wide open from 3. I believe it was Malik Monk. I don't remember if he made the shot or not, but it was just like, all right, number 1, you're not sprinting back with your guy. Number 2, it's like, all right, you get switched, fine, whatever. If it's a shooter, like, you can't just leave him on the 3-point line. And Aton basically just, like, walked away from him. It was just like, dude, this is the type of stuff, man, that drives me crazy. So he had some moments like that tonight defensively where it's like, you got to lock in, man. You had some games recently where you gave good effort. Okay. Now you're back to doing a little bit of that stuff defensively where it doesn't seem like you're completely locked in or battling. And that's just what I expect it to be, man. Like, he's gonna have a lot of those moments still, and I'm always gonna call it out. Miles Martin says nitpick. I mean, do you want me to ignore when Aton does all this stuff? Like, does it not matter? I mean, he had a lot of moments like that tonight, I think, and don't be mad at me for telling you what happened. Be mad at him for having inconsistent effort. I don't understand why you're mad at me for pointing it out, because it's clear. Unless you think his effort is consistent, then I understand why you think I'm nitpicking, but I don't think anybody would say that. So I just think, the only... Now that he's here past the deadline, it's like I'm going to start critiquing him again in terms of like, all right, he needs to be better. He is on this team. He is probably going to be on this team next year. And what, are we going to go into next year? Like, yeah, let's make a play. And we were close last year. Okay, well, if we want to make a play in next year and Aiden's on this team, it's going to be holding him to a higher responsibility than even he was this year. So that sort of stuff, like, you can't just... He did it with in a good game, so people thought I was nitpicking. But, like, the Royce O'Neal wide open 3 against Phoenix to tie the game in regulation, he just completely left him at the 3-point line. He has a weird habit of ending up switched onto a wing or a guard that can shoot and then just like walking away from them and leaving them 20 feet of space to shoot threes. I don't know why. It's very strange. Hopefully Chauncey can coach it out of him, because apparently Chauncey's working miracles with this team right now, so maybe that's another miracle he could work. The offense was okay. 7 for 14. I like that he got to the line 4 times. I like that he had 4 assists and also had 2 blocks. Like, he had a couple of impressive possessions protecting the rim. He's being a little bit more of a presence protecting the rim at least, so that's a good thing. So it's a mixed bag is what it is.
Yeah. Can I read this Apples comment, or do you want me to ignore it?
Read what?
This comment by Apples?
No. I mean, it's the same dude. We're going to ban, like, just every time anybody says that, we just ban. Like, they can go subscribe on another account. It's the same dude. No, it's the same dude. It's the same. We respond to the stuff all the time. It's the same dude. People want attention. Yeah. Our streams are doing better. The team's winning, right? So people are going to cry if we don't kiss the ass of every player and GM and front office exec of this team. That's just the way it is, right? If the Blazers win games, there is nothing that went wrong at all, and you can't point out anything that went wrong at all, like with some players. So that's just that was going to be.
Yeah, but like we've been mostly positive this stream.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I don't
but that's my point. That's my point. Is it just the same robotic like hate? It's whatever. It's whatever. So, and listen, like Clingan has to do a better job not fouling. I'll give Clingan some criticism, okay? And I'm a Clingan fan, right? He's, in my opinion, our future starting center, but he's been a little rough lately. He had a block in this game in 17 minutes. He had 3 fouls. He has this weird habit of reaching a little bit too much or like having his hands down and like bumping guys with his forearm. Like he almost just needs to get his arms completely out of the play until he jumps to try and block a shot. That's how he needs to defend, where like don't be bumping guys down low. Don't even reach for the ball. Just get your hands, your arms completely out of the play. Somebody goes up, then go block it. Okay? Because he gets handsy and he has his hands lowered and will bump guys with his arms, and he's so big he's going to move a guard, right, or a wing. And it gets called a foul, and he's had some foul troubles. Now, he's a rookie, so it feels like he's hitting a little bit of a rookie wall. He's 1 for 2 tonight from the field, 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Had 7 boards in 17 minutes. That's pretty decent. But, like, he's hitting a rookie wall, and he's learning, right? So this is something that he'll learn. And that's why it's like, all right, constructive criticism. That's something that coaching staff can go over on with him. And hopefully that's something that he can improve upon, because that's been a problem for him lately.
Yeah, so Clingan isn't like a scorer on offense. I think he's best used as kind of a hub or connector piece. And we haven't used him as much in that role as I think we should. Like he can be a lob threat and stuff, but he's got to be more open than Aton, I think. And maybe he can learn to do that. But that was one of the things that I was concerned about with Clingan, why I didn't have him as high in the draft as a lot of people, is I did feel like, especially for the Blazers, that more of a rim running finisher type would have been better with Scoot and our guards. But every time I get worried about Clingan, or I see the comments about how slow he is and how clumsy he looks out there and how like I just don't see it with him, I see a lot of fans putting those comments. And that that might be correct. Like you might be seeing that out there. At the same time, his instincts for blocking shots, his positioning, his ability to get to balls that do not look like he should be able to get to with his size, it's a dynamic that this Blazer team has not had. And DeAndre Ayton does not provide that at all. That is a reason why rim protection was so important to Joe Cronin in the draft this summer, because Ayton can block an occasional shot like out of the hands if he gets to it like while the guy is shooting. But Clingan gets the balls like high in the air, man, that most centers just would not get to. And he just has a good feel for when to jump, when to time his blocks, when to attack him and when not to. And you can't really teach those instincts well. Like you can learn a little bit of that at getting reps, but for a young player to have those instincts gives me hope for him that he, at the very least, is a solid rim protector. And quite frankly, that's all we really need him to be. If he's like manning the middle and like locking down the paint, I can live with him being a little bit of a struggle on offense and some of the clumsiness things, because he doesn't get out of position very often. He does commit some silly fouls sometimes, but every young big pretty much gets into silly foul trouble at some point in their early career. So you just got to clean that up a little bit, cut down on some of the mistakes where he's he's turning the wrong way or like not reading where the guy's going to come off the screen properly or whatever. Those are things that a smart basketball player can learn over time. I'm not worried about any of that. The clumsy stuff, I would be more worried about if he wasn't so good about positioning his body. And I look at it kind of like this is someone I kind of compared him to before the draft. But Andrew Bogut on the Golden State Warriors, him and Draymond, Bogut was never like the quickest guy or like the fiercest defender, but like him and Draymond were always in the right position and always had each other's back and always were just like there when helping when they needed to. And that's the kind of player defensively that I think Clingan can be, and that was a great contribution to a good team at the time. And I think Clingan can do that. So I'm not really worried about him long term or whatever. I think he'll start to figure out some of the other stuff enough to be respectable. And then that rim protection, it is, whether you like him or not, it is a valued thing that this Blazer team has not had. And it does deter people from going to the rim once he's blocked their shot a couple times.
Yeah. Be patient with Clingan. Be patient with Clingan. You don't see it yet. Okay, well, a lot of you didn't see anything with Scoot last year. So just be patient with him. Be patient with him. Like, he's already a good defensive player, like Blaze Nuggets says. He's already a good defensive player as a rookie. So just give him some time. Okay? I know that's not what everybody wants to hear because patience in sports, right? Who wants to be patient? But it's the same thing I was saying with Scoot Henderson. So, yeah, like, just be patient with them. Shout out to MGJJ123 with the $5 donation. Says, thank you for your show this morning and again tonight. Go Blazers. Yeah, we're pulling double duty today. It's going to be like 8 hours of streaming or 7 or whatever. It's a long day, man. It's a long day. Mm-hmm. But thank you for the donation. Appreciate the love, man. It means a lot. Shout out to Christopher Aquino with the $2 donation. Says, what's the next steps for us and who do we target?
I don't know if you saw, man, but the trade deadline passed.
Yeah, I think it means like this off season.
I know. I'm messing with you, Christopher. Yeah.
So I haven't even thought about it yet. Honestly, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk about this in a minute, but Cronin must have laid the foundations and the groundwork for a trade because he's done that the last couple off seasons.
Yeah. There's
a player he's already got in the bag, Tori.
Yeah, we'll see who that is. I'll ask around. So, last year I heard Franz Wagner ended up being Denny, which is kind of like Franz. So I'll figure out what type of player he's looking for. We'll see. Shout out to Christopher Aquino, though, with the $2 donation. Appreciate you, Chris. Just give me a little time to think about it. And then shout out to Himothy, member for 8 months. Says, my doofus of a brother canceled my membership. Well, I'm glad you got it back and could leave that member message. Yeah. It still says member for 8 months, so it doesn't take away the progress. So I appreciate you. Being a channel member means a lot. I love seeing the green names in chat. You guys are awesome. What's up, Reese? How you doing? We're good. We're good over here. I was in a pretty bad mood earlier today, man. Just stressed out. It's been a stressful week prepping for the trade deadline and everything else. So happy for that to be over. I can finally relax. All-Star break coming up, so I'm looking forward to just kind of resetting because I do need it. Tori gonna figure out the archetype and who it's not. Yeah, we'll see what archetype. I don't know what archetype they would want other than a shooter. So a shooter that can do other things. I don't know who that would be.
Cam Johnson.
Yeah, probably Cam Johnson. Tankathon, yeah, we'll do Tankathon tonight. Other players, Scoot, 4 turnovers, 8 assists. I've always said benchmark at least 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Had a couple passes where he tried to look off the defense and throw a pass and the defense didn't bite. So, some risky passes, risky plays, just trying to make plays for others. Had a couple steals. I love the play where he chased the ball out of bounds and saved the ball from going out of bounds and ended up with a DA bucket. I mean, Scoot has had, I don't know if it was last game or the game before, but he had a play recently like that where he was diving into the first row to save a ball. So that's the type of stuff I love, man. I care about guys that bring it and give consistent effort if it isn't apparent yet for you DA stands out there. Scoot had really bad moments last year as a rookie of effort lapses. This year, he has been much, much better. He's been hustling. He's been getting steals. He's been making plays and just trying to find a way to impact games. If his shot's not falling, he was basically should have been 2 for 4 from 3 today. But one, his photo was on the line. He needs to clean that up because I believe there was also a shot recently where he was had his foot on the line for a long 2. But, his shot still looks good. So 1 for 3 from 3 tonight, like almost 2 for 4. All right, so continues to shoot the 3-ball well. Just didn't really make a whole lot happen for himself driving to the rim. Looked slightly sped up in this game, and there's going to be games where he's kind of slightly sped up. But also, Eric, how many pick and rolls did he run? He ran a few, but it felt like he didn't run as many as he normally does. It was a lot of, in the flow of things trying to drive more so.
Yeah. Dude, that one play you were talking about where he just outworked the Kings to the ball, that was a huge play in this game.
Huge momentum play.
Yeah, so shout out to him, man. I love seeing that. And that's that kind of effort and his defensive effort overall is the main reason why I've turned my thoughts around on him to being super excited when he's playing right now, because the dude is giving so much effort on the court, and you got to hand it to him for turning that around and playing that way when it looked like he was just going to kind of be resigned to letting his, his struggles continue. He really changed his mindset, and it's really cool to see.
Yep. Shout out KGB 503 with another $2 donation with no message. So it keeps leaving the donations without the message. We still appreciate the donations. Thank you. And then Bouquet upgraded to all-star level membership. So he went from starter to all-star. That's development. We develop Bouquets into a star, Eric.
Yeah, and I owe Wes Davison a beer now.
Why's that?
Oh, we had a thing that I owed him a beer if the Blazers made no trades this year. I thought there was no way. I thought that was going to be the easiest.
Nice, Wes. Let's go, man. Buy the most expensive beer possible.
Yeah, I don't care. I'll never step out on a bet I owe someone. So, yeah. He said he's going to Vegas this weekend, so yeah. He's already going to be drunk. But whenever you're back, we'll would I make the same bet next year? Funny, but all we had to do was do a Banton type trade for a second round pick.
I know.
On the bet, yeah. I can't believe we did nothing,
dude. Since the start of last season, we've only brought in 3 new players. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
Since the start of last year, we've only brought in Banton, Avdia, and Clingan.
Yep.
So very stable over here. Very stable over here. We got Miles Martin defending Aton in chat, basically saying what we call low effort is often low basketball IQ. How is lightly jogging back in defensive transition low IQ is my question. Because I just view that as low effort. So interested to hear the response. Let's.
Well, says Wes just wanted to drink a beer with me and was fine buying me one, but then Cronin said, "Hold my beer."
Hold my beer, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, "We can't let Eric get a free beer. We need to make him pay. I'm going to show him
Yeah.
Stupid Blazer Uprise dudes.
Yeah, he got your ass. So.
Yeah. Congratulations, Cronin and Wes.
So Chris Murray played a little bit tonight. Played 5 minutes, missed a three, fumbled a pass, like missed a lay-in. Eric, like I have no hope. I have no hope there at all. I know he had some solid defensive moments when he played a little bit, like a few games ago. He's shooting 26% from three and 44% from the free throw line. 14 for 32 from the free throw line. You know how we talk about with prospects, like what they shoot from the free throw line can be indicative of whether or not they'll be able to shoot or not. Chris Murray for his career, 51 for 88 from the free throw line, 58%. His three-point shot has not gotten better. I'm resigned. Like they basically traded Josh Hart for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we knew that.
Yeah.
The minute they traded him. But, sorry, I just saw, I'm a distract. Have you seen all these, I don't know if it's like an app or something, but Joe Cronin's face being put into all these like famous memes and stuff. Have you seen any of these stories?
I've seen the one where he's like standing on the sidewalk at night, like looking down.
Yeah. Well, someone, when there's that gif of me saying F everyone and throwing my headset down or whatever.
Yeah. Great gift.
Someone put your face on that, like our faces blended together, and it's tripping me out, but it's also hilarious.
Where is it?
I don't know. Someone sent it to me. I don't know how to save it and send it to other people.
You had a great.
So funny.
You had a great clip today that I think might even be a better one than that.
Yeah,
I forget exactly what you said. Here, I'll play it. I'll play it on from my phone on the mic. Wait. Hold on.
Bullshit, dude, you're a fraud.
That's gonna be a soundboard thing in our Discord.
Yeah, I think people have been posting the Cronin ones in our in our Discord if you want to see some of them.
Yeah. Bouquet said he's been spamming it in the Discord, so we'll take a look.
Yeah, we're let's see who sent this.
You guys need to use some more soundboards here. That was excellent. There's some stuff in our Discord soundboard stuff if you go into the voice chat. Shout out to Alvaro Bazan gifting one Blazers Uprise membership that goes to James B. Congratulations to James B. and thank you to Alvaro for gifting the membership. Thank you, Alvaro. Good to see you, Alvaro. How you been, man? I always love how you just announce your presence with a gifted membership. We appreciate that, man. Blazers keep playing like this. We might have to do another in-person watch party this year.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
See Alvaro at that again. We don't want frauds in this chat. Need to develop them. Yes. It's our goal here to develop you guys. And if you think someone else is in chat, if someone else is in chat and in your way, okay, blocking your development, just let me know. I'll get rid of them. Okay? So let me know who's blocking your development. I won't pull Cronin. I won't leave him here. Just kidding. I'm going full Cronin. I'm not blocking anybody. Trevin is blocking my development. Yeah, I'm sure. You want to be top mod, but Trevin is in your way. The CP3 trade dude, yeah, the next game the Blazers lose, he has to donate as part of a bet because he said the Blazers would win every game in February. Or I have to let him back into our Discord. For who knows how long.
Trevin, can you send it to like the main chat?
Let's look at the standings.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here. Western Conference standings, Eric. So you know how the broadcast said they're 3 games back of a play-in?
Yeah.
They're actually 2.5.
How? Someone else lose tonight?
They beat the Kings.
Yeah, but I thought like Condors.
The Kings lost last night. So remember, the Kings were 4 games better than us last postgame show. We're 4 games ahead of us, so they lost last night to move it to 3.5 better, and then we just beat them, so now it's 2.5. Nathan Rolfe, $8 Australian donation, says, "Hey guys, I'm going to blindly trust that we make the play-in, then sell the vets high this offseason. Cronin Masterclass." Yeah, he didn't have enough time to showcase the vets. He needs to showcase them on a play-in stage. Jeremy Grant's going for 35 in a play-in.
Yep.
Thank you for the donation, Nathan. Appreciate it. We are only 2.5 back, Eric. We are still in 13th, though. We're the best 13th seed ever.
All right, Trevin sent it to the main chat in the Discord.
Okay. If you're not in our... That is disturbing.
I just...
It doesn't even look like either of us.
I know, but...
You look like someone, but it's not me. It's not me. If you're not in our Discord, you're missing out. Join our Discord. This is the type of stuff you get in our Discord. Trevin, what is that? What is that?
I think that's also you and me.
Why does that look like... Why do I look like Elon Musk?
Wow.
It's not good. It's not good.
That's what Albie said.
Alvy saw it too? Yeah, for real. For real. Me plus Eric. That's what it is. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't have anywhere to throw my hat anymore, man. I need to work on my background. I was like, I finally got a room. It's just a studio, and then I haven't done anything with it yet. I'm thinking about getting a TV in here on like one of the side walls and then like a comfy chair, and then I need cooler stuff for the backdrop. So I gotta put something on that wall. I gotta start cooking in here. If you guys have any ideas for stuff, send them to me.
Where's Nightbot? Someone's asking for the link to the Discord.
It's in the top of the description. But also I'll post it again. I found it. I'm just going to copy the whole Nightbot message. Shout out to Nightbot. Okay. There you go. There you go. Miles Martin says, Tamani was insane tonight on defense. Single-handedly fouls out Sabonis. Yeah, like he had an impact on this game despite going 2 for 13. You know what I mean? Like, I will say about the 2 for 13, he had a problem today, and he's had this problem before, just like trying to go up around the rim when he's just completely stifled and getting stuck in the air and just throwing some crap at the backboard. And he had a few plays like that. I would like to see him get better at like catching the ball, pump faking, like taking a power dribble, and then maybe a little baby hook or like trying to hop step middle, and then if the paint's really that clogged, like just kick it out. You know what I mean? I just feel like sometimes he gets stuck trying to go up strong against guys when he has no chance. So that's something for him to improve on. But defense was phenomenal. 14 rebounds too. Really good as well. So that's the thing is like if your shot's not falling, it was 0 for 4 tonight. If your shot's not falling, can you still impact the game positively? Right? And that's what Tamati did. You know, he fouled out Sabonis. 14 rebounds. I can accept a bad shooting night because you're going to have bad shooting nights. Just what do you do about it in other areas of the game? But yeah, Eric, thoughts on the standings? Because I keep telling you, we're 2.5 back. Ring the alarms. Right? We've made it.
I'm eyeing that 8 seed right now, and
4 back the 8th seed, yeah.
yeah, we'll get a road playing game. If we lose that, we get a home playing game.
You just got to
If we
win one of
win
the
that,
two.
we're the 7th seed if we win the first one.
Yeah. So
We'll
we
beat
either
the-
get smoked by Memphis or OKC.
What are you talking about? We're beating both of those teams.
Beating both of those teams.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this team in the playoffs. They're not gonna they're gonna be one of those 8 seeds that's like, oh, fun story. Here, get your ass destroyed by the OKC Thunder. 4-0 sweep. OKC's really good. Maybe
You
we
sound
shocked
like
the
those
world.
people in 2019, Tory, who didn't
Yeah.
want to play
Yeah.
OKC, but thanks to Anthony
Even though we
Simons'
were the 3 seed and they were the
37
6 seed.
Yeah, thanks to the 37 points by Anthony Simons in the last game and a comeback win over the Kings, we got to play them, and everyone was like, oh man, we're going to be the 3rd seed and lose again in the first round. And we ended up smoking them.
Tyler trolling us saying, so negative. Yeah, we're winning it all, Tyler. I got you, bro. I got you. We're winning it all. We are ready to beat everyone on this graphic. Can't wait after the All-Star break to humble Luka in LA. Or against LA. Yeah, you're going to have to pass the Spurs. The Spurs, of course, have De'Aaron Fox now. The Warriors have Jimmy Butler now. I think it's Spurs, Suns, Kings. I really do. The Suns have a hard upcoming schedule. We're only 3 games back of the Suns, which is crazy. You remember that game earlier in the year where Delano Banton almost led a 20-point comeback?
Yeah.
You realize, if we actually completed that and the rest of the season went the same way, we'd only be 1 game back of them. We'd be 17.5 back, and they'd be in 11th place, 16.5 back. Yeah. But we've won a lot of close games and beat them in overtime, so, that's the only reason we're 23-29. But you just got to win games, man. I mean, this is why this upcoming 3-game road trip is so important. You can either make some ground on these teams. It's getting to the point where, you're close enough. I'm going to scoreboard watch these teams. I'm also going to sit here rooting for, Toronto to win as many games as possible now that they have Brandon Ingram. Are they going to go for the play-in? I can actually toss up those standings as well. Let me toss those up. So Toronto gets Ingram. I assume they're eyeing the play-in maybe, but they're 5 games out. 5.5 games out. And they would have to pass Philadelphia. Atlanta, Jalen Johnson's out for the season. So it's just I don't really... The Brandon Ingram trade is weird. Are they already resigned that this season they're not going to make the play-in, or do they still have dreams of that? Ingram is still hurt, isn't he? Yeah, I don't even know. So, but the Nets have been winning some games lately. So, if the Blazers do fall off a cliff, I don't know. Maybe you could still get a good lottery pick. It's kind of nice being in the position where you still have a chance to move up in the tank race if things go really bad, and if things go really good, you might be in the play-in.
I mean, we're still, 6 or 7 games ahead of those teams?
We'll look at the tankathon right now. Let's do it. So, the Blazers are currently all alone in 9th. Look at this, won 6 in a row. What the hell, man? What is this? Won 6 in a row, all alone in 9th. We are 5.5 away from Brooklyn, 6.5 away from Toronto. So I really think 7th is probably the ceiling now. Chicago, they still have Vucevic, which I guess is good news, and they're still in a play-in spot. So I guess they still go for it, and Philadelphia, of course, is going to go for it. So you want these two teams to do as well as possible. The 7th best odds could be a pretty decent record. It could be Portland. If they fall off a cliff, they don't make the play, and they pull the plug, I think they can get to 7th. That would give you a 32% chance of the top 4 instead of 52, right? So 20% difference. For the growth this season, whatever, right? But the Blazers The Blazers keep getting lucky when I simulate this thing with us down here at like 9. Speaking to the ethical tanking they're doing right now. So let's simulate it. Let's scroll from the bottom. Let's see if we can get lucky once again. I mean, if we get lucky on this one, then I'm starting to believe, like, yeah, we need to have 9th best odds instead of good odds. 14 is Houston via Phoenix. 13 is Miami via Golden State. Yeah, because it's weird to say Miami on a tankathon, Eric. But, you know, they have that Golden State pick now from the Jimmy Butler trade. 12 is Sacramento. 11 is San Antonio. 10 is San Antonio from Atlanta. 9 is Portland. At least you stayed at 9. 8 is Chicago. 7 is OKC via Philadelphia. 6 is Charlotte moving down 2 spots. And 5 is Washington. So you got Brooklyn, Toronto, Utah, and New Orleans. At 4 is Utah. At 3 is Toronto. At 2 is Brooklyn. And at 1 is the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm really rooting for Toronto to get Cooper Flag, because then it's like, why the hell is Brandon Ingram here? You know what I mean? Like, it'd just be funny. Then they really would play Scotty at point guard. Then you're looking at like Scotty. Yeah, you're looking at Scotty, Barrett, Cooper Flag, Brandon Ingram, and Pirtle. Interesting lineup, for sure. And then at 9, I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be like, if you want to swing for upside in a forward, it's going to be Yegor for us, right? I feel like that is going to be the debate, is like, do you go for upside with Yegor? Upside with Asa Newell? I wouldn't hate Asa Newell. Like at 9, it's like Asa Newell's solid, maybe best of like floor plus upside. Yegor's like boomer bust. And then you're going to have like some high floor guys, maybe lower ceiling, that could really help in an area of need, like a Con Knipple or a Liam McNeely.
Yeah, I don't think at 9 that's too high for any of those type of players. So I think it's not the worst spot to be in. Obviously, we want to be top 3, but
yeah,
you know, like we could take any number of guys, and it's not a reach. I think at that point.
Yeah, I think like at the end of the day, if we're 4th, we still have a decent chance of falling to like 5th or 6th. I think outside of the top 5, like 6 on down is pretty fluid. I think there's kind of a clear-cut top 6, I guess, with Trey Johnson, but I have my reservations. So that's where, you know, you're going to be able to get an interesting piece. But that's where this front office can make their paycheck. If you can get a star, right, then you're looking good. You're looking good. Or, Eric, I wouldn't hate the idea of, like, trading it for a really good future pick. Like Minnesota did for Rob Dillingham. What pick did they trade San Antonio again?
They traded the 2031 first, I think.
Yeah, and was it unprotected?
I think so.
Yeah, so like I'd take an unprotected. I would take like an unprotected future first and see if you can maybe get back something a little bit more for 8 or 9, because I think this draft is better. If you're not in love with anyone on the board.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. So, anyway, that's Tankathon. I guess we'll end the stream talking about Cronin's presser, Eric.
Yes.
What were your thoughts?
Well, I said this earlier. I don't put much weight into anything he says anymore. Yeah. I wrote down pretty much everything he said.
I tweeted a lot of it, so I'll just give you my takeaway, okay? He actually said something that was good, believe it or not. He said basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that the 10-game stretch of good games didn't sway his decision making, that he's still like heavily focused on the long term and wants to build a sustained winner, whatever that means. But like, I thought that was a good thing because I was wondering where he'd go with that. So I truly think that, dude, Aton stands are driving me crazy. They are starting to enter like Cam Reddish stands and Mellow stands. I'm about to start. I'm gonna start just banning Aton stands. Aton for president of the United States. Have some shame, brother. Have some shame. Here's what I think is the deal with Cronin. Okay. Casey Darnell, that is absolutely true. That's his job. I think Cronin just really struggles at knowing when to sell and how to effectively sell for correct value. And I think that's what this deadline was. Because I think if he didn't want to trade guys, he wouldn't have said some of the things that he said. We're like, yeah, we listened to offers. You know, we basically considered moving guys, just nobody met our value. That's what I got from like a lot of his comments. I'm paraphrasing, of course, right? So you heard the report about like the Blazers want an unprotected future first for Robert Williams. I think Cronin, his issue is he sets a price that's pretty high, and then if teams don't meet it, it goes nowhere. And then he doesn't sell. And I think that's what he did this past offseason with Jeremy Grant. That's why he kept Jeremy Grant. Now Jeremy Grant's value is even worse. So I assume Cronin moved off that price a little bit, but still, with how bad Jeremy Grant played, there's nobody willing to meet it, right? And while that is kind of a crippling flaw for a GM with highly paid vets on a rebuilding team, that also would mean like maybe his intentions weren't wrong. He just failed at executing, which still deserves criticism, 100%, but it's a little bit different to me.
Yeah, I respect that opinion. I didn't really get that at all. Maybe I just didn't want to get that from it. But everything's about the players and that kind of stuff. And he mentioned the CBA a few times, but he never gets that question like why is this team up against the tax, and why are you not in a position to add assets because you've managed your cap well versus trading these guys? So it's one thing to not get value for the players. So he started off by saying, I didn't find the value and decided to pass. And he said, for us, that's a good thing. Okay. But like, so if you're having trouble getting value for your players, you shouldn't have trouble getting value using cap space in the new CBA to add assets. And that's my biggest problem so far with the inactivity is you can excuse away not trading someone because you didn't get value, but you can't excuse putting yourself in a position where you can't make any moves at all to add not even a second round pick, because you don't have any room under the luxury tax to take on players or anything like that.
Yeah, and like even if their value goes up a little bit, it's like, does their value go up more than what you could get if you had some added flexibility to accumulate assets to take on contracts? Yeah. So it's like there's a cost opportunity, like opportunity cost. Yeah, there's an opportunity cost by keeping them on the roster, where even if they do recoup a little bit of value, increase their value a little bit, it has to outweigh the opportunity cost then. And also there could be opportunity cost with keeping Scoot and Sharp on the bench, right? So I think that's part of the equation that I think some people kind of ignore because they just view trades as like, how much are you getting back for this player? If you're not getting back this much, then you shouldn't trade him, right? But there's opportunity cost baked in different areas. So, yeah.
Yeah, see, my thing is, we've broken this down at length, but for anyone who doesn't understand this still, just because just because you don't get value straight up in a trade doesn't mean you can't get value out of the trade, like you mentioned, whether that's because someone else gets more of an opportunity from the trade, or the main thing, and that is if you use whatever assets you get in the trade or whatever flexibility used in the trade to make another follow-up move this summer, instead of now having to still move all these guys this summer or do something with them. And so that's what I get frustrated, because every comment makes sense. It's the right answer, whatever. It's exactly what these media guys want to hear to their questions, that some of them lead them into the answers they want to hear with the line of questioning as well. But for me, it's that no one ever questions what he's missing out on by not setting his cap up to be a little bit more responsible as a rebuilding team.
Yeah. Yep.
And he started off by saying, when next transaction window hits this summer, we'll see what that entails. Like, yeah, okay, moving it to the summer, great, whatever. He was asked if he was close on anything. He says, fairly close on a few things, always try to be aggressive. He used the stay connected in terms of how he likes to approach teams. Now, connectivity is a word for him being a GM instead of just the team being connected. He was asked if the 10 games change anything. He said he was heavily focused on the big picture and building that sustained winner you mentioned. He did mention someone asked him what he's looking for in terms of value, which I thought was a good question. And he said something that if you listen to the show, you know is the case, and that he values good players on good contracts. That was the first thing he mentioned. We've told you many times on this program over the last couple of years that it seems like they have less of a focus on adding draft picks, and haven't added a draft pick since the Dame trade, or the Drew Holiday part of the Dame trade, and have been looking to add Denny-like players instead of adding draft pick capital. So that is something that makes it very difficult, in my opinion, to make moves, because you're constantly trying to find value in a player that has a good contract, and those players aren't easily attainable. You usually have to give up a lot, like we had to give up a lot for Denny, whether that was good or bad. I'm just saying you have to give up something to get those players usually. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to talk about something different, so if you're still going to go ahead.
Oh, okay. And then he said the value in a trade depends on if you're trying to add or subtract, which I guess is true, but he said they're looking at exploring both of those directions. So once again, you got to question, like, yes, you do need to do both, but like, what is your main goal? Like, are you not sure and you're just hoping for one of the two to transpire or whatever? He said he was asked what he wanted to see the rest of the season. Goal is to continue growth, get better individually and collectively. Danny asked him about the 2 timeline thing, and he was like, "What do you mean?" like answered funny. And then he made a weird comment about a lot of teams operating a 2 timeline system. I didn't really understand that part at all.
Like where they pay 3 vets $90 million combined.
Yeah. On a rebuilding team, like, we're the only rebuilding team that has like a cap situation that's not great. But yeah, I don't know. And then he said that the vets provide leadership, functionality on the court, and provide talent to a group that isn't ready to compete. But I disagree with that, and I think this is the biggest misconception about us, Tori. You've mentioned this several times. This isn't a negative thing when we say this. It's a positive thing, because we actually think the young group is ready to compete and can do a lot more than they could be, or people think they could be, without these veterans. Maybe even be better than we are with some of these veterans. And so, like, we want to be positive about the young core and stuff like that. And we're only negative because we feel like that's being blocked a little bit. And so, like, I don't understand him still thinking that these vets are like holding this team together, or like propping them up or something like that. I think some of these guys are ready to compete without them.
Yeah, I mean, we won this game because of Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons, and like defense from a collection of guys, right? But it's like when you've got defense from a collection of guys, you can get rid of one. You know, it's not reliant upon any one guy. So that's absolutely how I view it. And you know, every night is different guys, but it's like you're not reliant upon Jeremy Grant. What did Jeremy Grant do tonight? He had 3 blocks. Like, credit to him, he played some defense tonight. 4 for 11 for the field, 2 for 7 from 3. Had a couple awful drives, including that one where he tipped and stole the Chris Murray pass, and then just like his dribble drive game has fallen off a cliff. Has absolutely fallen off a cliff. There is a reason why his 3-point percentage on the season is 38.2, but his field goal percentage is 38.5. Basically means he's shooting the same percentage from 2 as he is from 3. And 39% from 2 is terrible, especially for a 6'7" athletic forward. He has been terrible outside of shooting threes offensively. Like, because he's not a passer. So, yeah.
And see, this is where you lose me with people like Gregory in chat. So he says Grant's not a bad contract with the new TV deal, and that he tells you, Tori, that wing shooter, 6'9", good defender, great leader, and locker room guy. Many teams will love
Then why didn't he get traded, bro? Why is he still here if Cronin actually tried to trade him?
If that's true, yeah, then
there's no excuse for him being here still. Like, he's also listed as 6'7", not 6'9". But like, all right, if many teams would love to have him, then we should have been able to cash him in for some very good value by now, and it's ridiculous he's still on the team. That's not an excuse for Cronin. Like that's the thing is I'm starting to get confused as to whether people are like defending Cronin or criticizing Cronin, because a lot of the stuff that could be used to defend Cronin actually is a critique of him. Like, that is an example, because that means like there's no excuse for him being on the team still then if many teams would love him.
I'm pretty sure Gregory has defended Cronin in the past, so my mistake if you're not doing that here. But
yeah,
if you're singing the praises of Jeremy Grant in that way, that we should have had teams beating down the door to trade for him then. And so then Cronin absolutely failed if he could not find the value, like he admitted at the beginning of his press conference, that he could not find the value in any of his players. So if those things are true, then Cronin failed. So I don't understand.
Also, Elizabeth Allen is right. Cap goes up max 10% each year in the new CBA. New TV deal doesn't matter. Yeah, like it's not going to go up more than 10%.
Yeah. And he was asked if any vets asked out specifically or wanted out. He said some of them questioned where the team's headed and stuff like that, but no one specifically asked out.
The question I have for you there, chat, is like, if somebody did ask out, do you think that would be his answer? Because I do. Like, he's not going to say, like, yeah, somebody asked out, but they're still here and they're fine now. Or, like, he's just going to say, like, yeah, some guys question things, but that's it. He's not just going to come out and admit that Anthony Simons or someone asked for a trade.
This has been a thing between us, Tori, since the summer. You heard he did ask out. I heard he did not ask out, but just told the team he did not want to be in a situation anymore that is dead set on losing games on purpose and all that kind of stuff. So if that's going to be what happens this year, he doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. So we can argue semantics over that, I guess, but I don't think he said, I want out. I think he just said, if I'm staying, I want you guys to not hold me back or whatever, like make me sit out the last few months of the season this year.
Yeah, I mean, but That type of comment is what he'd say if he did or he didn't. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that
maybe.
comment doesn't, like, give us any insight because he's not going to get... If somebody did, he's not going to say that they did at this point after keeping him. Like, why would he... That just raises so many unpleasant questions. You know what I mean? And we know they care about the PR game, Eric. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think Fentress asked this question, and I hate the leading, like where you ask a question that's fine, but then you lead them into an answer that is like just setting himself up to like easily answer the question. So he asked about if it was tougher in the new CBA, and I thought he was going to leave it there, but then he said to extract first round picks. And Cronin said in the previous CBA, first round picks were traded like crazy, and teams were tighter giving them up now. Tori, is that true though? Like, how many teams gave away first round picks to teams like Washington and Charlotte and stuff like that for players? Like,
I mean, Philadelphia gave up a first round pick to get Jared Butler.
I know, yeah. So it's not that people aren't giving away first; it's that the reason for getting first has changed a little bit. And this is exactly why Tori and I are frustrated and have been frustrated since we started this rebuild, is that the teams that are set up to take advantage of teams that need to cut cap and to make little moves like that are getting heavily rewarded for that. And yes, the teams who don't have cap space to take on a bad contract and stuff like that are not getting first round picks. Wow, what a concept. Yeah, thanks for realizing that, Cronin. It's because you are not set up to take on salary. So maybe set yourself up to do that and you will get those first round picks. But like I said earlier, from everything I heard, they're not even really that concerned about adding picks or assets in that regard. They're more focused on trying to find the perfect players to add to this system or whatever.
Yeah. Brother. An expiring contract next year he didn't want back for Grant if he was getting assets he likes. That's silly. Middleton's going to expire next year. Like, he's a veteran. He's still a solid player. He's much more efficient than Jeremy Grant has been this season. So, like, yeah, you're not going to get... For a $30 million a year contract, you're not just going to get, like, a first-round pick and then no salary. So, like, I don't understand why you think, like, all these teams wanted him. Also, I don't understand why you would, like, say that Cronin maybe didn't want Middleton even if he was getting a first-round pick because, like, Middleton has been just as good as Jeremy this year and is on a better contract, so that would just be silly. That would just be absolutely silly. And didn't want Beauchamp. Beauchamp's, like, basically an expiring, he's barely making anything.
He is, they didn't pick up his option, so...
He's an expiring, barely making anything, so, like, why would they care? Why would they care about Beauchamp? So that's the problem. That's the problem, man, is like he should not be here anymore. If all these teams supposedly would love Jeremy Grant, then Cronin should absolutely have been able to find one team to make a trade make sense and trade Jeremy Grant away. So you are criticizing Joe Cronin by acting like Jeremy has all these teams that love him and Cronin is just sitting on his hands and not capitalizing on that. So the thing is, when you have more teams that love a player, you're going to have more options for the types of different assets you can take back. You should absolutely be able to find something you like that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say, like, it's not a critique of Cronin, but I absolutely think you're critiquing him.
Like Miles Martin says, the freaking Raptors traded for Brandon Ingram, and that was a surprise. Like, you're not telling me another team wouldn't have, like, a surprise team wouldn't have traded for Grant? Like, I don't know.
I just think his contract is bad, and teams don't want it, and Cronin screwed up by giving him that contract.
All right, so then he was asked about if he gained any traction for future trades during today's trade deadline, like it was that the case with Malcolm Brogdon last year. So he said you can lay the foundation for the later period. He mentioned the Jeremy Grant trade. 4 months prior to that, they had worked out some stuff with him. Now, if you have been listening to the show, I've been saying since then that they offered Josh Hart and the first round pick we got that was potentially going to be a lottery pick / turn into the Milwaukee pick that we ended up trading for Jeremy Grant when it didn't become a lottery pick. We offered those two to Detroit. It was going to be part of the CJ trade, and they declined that trade at the time because they, one, they were valuing cap space heading into the offseason, and two, we couldn't guarantee that that pick was going to be a translatable pick that year, and they were hoping for a second lottery pick to get both Jalen Duren and whoever they ended up with their top pick. So they were looking for a for sure lottery pick, ended up finding a way to get it using those assets. But yeah, Cronin tried to give up Josh Hart before he was even a Blazer, which is crazy. But 4 months later, got the deal done. Now he said
he might as well have given Josh Hart up in that deal at this point, right? Because what did he get for him? But go on.
The pick too, like we wouldn't have had that pick, like, or a chance to have that lottery pick. That would have been weird. But he said the same thing with Denny Avdia. And Tori, I'm calling BS on this one. You really talked to Washington about Denny Avdia last trade deadline, and they were interested in like Malcolm Brogdon then? Like, no way, no chance.
I mean, I don't think he doesn't say they were interested in Malcolm Brogdon. It's just like, all right, you have exploratory
Well, he
talks,
asked him about Brogdon, and he brought that up as a question about Brogdon.
What do you mean?
Quick specifically asked about Malcolm Brogdon last year and the Wizards, and he said, yeah, we talked to them about it, and it ended up laying the groundwork for it months later.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not saying like, oh, they laid the groundwork with interest for Brogdon. That's just saying like they talked potentially about an Avdia trade, kind of gauged whether or not Washington would consider a deal for him, and then maybe what the like draft capital price would be, and then.
Why were both of those trades the day before or the day of the draft then, if the groundwork had been laid and those teams have basically worked out those trades? Why did it take...
I mean, because that doesn't mean they agreed to the trade at the deadline.
No, like, I know they didn't.
That means
it's
like
changed from the end of the season when you knew the draft position.
Or Washington decided, like, you know what? This trade's been on the table for Avdia. We're going to take it. Because it could be Cronin sent that trade a while ago, like, this is on the table, right? We know what the picks are. And then Washington had all the time in the world to sit there and deliberate it, but you got to make the trade happen by the draft, because then it's like you have to draft your players. So that's why then it happens an hour before the draft, because that was basically their deadline for deciding whether they wanted to take the trade or not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So... I mean, I do think that part makes sense because, like, all these teams talk and, like, gauge where they're at, and there's a lot more discussions than people realize, so...
But, like Trevin says, like, Denny didn't even take his jump till after the deadline, so why... You couldn't have gotten him before he took that jump? Like why didn't he...
Because maybe they just didn't want to trade him at that point in time, like...
I don't know, I find that...
Denny was still, like, decent before the deadline, though. He took a jump, and then he took another jump.
Yeah, I guess.
And it's hard for teams to give up a player that young with his skill set, so, like, I understand if Washington was like, I don't know if we want to do this. And waited.
All right, then he was asked if keeping the vets was, like, a concern or whatever. He said it wouldn't call it a concern, got to find balance. Roles, touches, starts, that kind of stuff. But he does think very highly of vets, including our vets.
I mean, I don't know if I've lowered the bar too much, but like at least he acknowledged that is like you got to balance it properly with starts and that sort of stuff, and it's a thing.
Yeah.
At least he acknowledged that's a thing.
Yeah. He was asked what he thought of the deadline league-wide, and he got a big smile and said it was fun and interesting, and he's a fan too, and it was more active than he was expecting. He said he was surprised it was more cap-based than player-based. How do you not see that coming, dude? League has become so cap-dominant. Yeah, no crap, dude. Like, I mean, I guess he has to answer the question, but like, those are... It feels like he just like was caught off guard a little bit by how much it was cap based, and I just don't know how you see that. And then he says that they have to function and transact accordingly to the being so cap dominant. Well, then why aren't you? Like,
yeah.
yeah. And then he was asked to evaluate the job Chauncey has done, and of course he said he's done a great job. He's excelled at player development. That's been critical. He's proud of the growth of everyone and establishing a style of play finally, which is, I guess, fair game. I mean,
true.
Yeah,
Like,
whatever. Yeah.
I mean, but that's what we've been talking about. So,
but if this interview happened 3 weeks ago, could he not say any of those things? Like, we would have all laughed if he said.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have
right?
said. He wouldn't have said that. That was definitely based on like this 10-game stretch. He's finally established like some sort of identity, and I mean, I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I was asked if it was fair to set a goal of the plan, and he said it would be unfair to take it away from these guys, and he's so proud and excited about them. The sky is the limit, and he's here to support it, not take it away. So be surprised, I guess, now if they did start benching guys for no reason at any point, maybe at the very end of the season, but it looks like we're going to let this team play it out, which, I mean, you can't argue with that, I guess. Fans are getting excited again. The team's getting excited. The interest level, just judging based on the people tuning into us, Tori, has been night and day difference these last couple weeks. Shout out to all those who stuck it out, even through the bad times, though. Always like to give you guys props. But then, and then I don't even know who this was, but someone, the last question was, would you like to ask us any questions, Joe? That was...
Who said that?
I don't know who said that. I wanted to go back. I couldn't tell who said it, but like, why did they ask me that? So,
do you guys hate the Blazers Uprise guys too? Yeah. Well, yeah, that's why they're not here.
Like, where was he expecting him to ask some like fun question back to the media, and he was just like, press conference over. Basically, he got up and.
What do you guys think about what I did not do today? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Did you guys buy all the crap I just said?
I mean, I thought it was an interesting thing to ask him just to see if he'd like what he'd say. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It was just like his response made it awkward for sure. It was funny. It was kind of funny though. Like, I don't know. But that just shows you like the media is so buddy with Joe and like it's pretty clear.
He did man, he was like, his voice was like shaky a lot of the press conference. Like, he seemed really nervous to talk.
Yeah.
I don't think we deserve it more than anyone else, but it would be cool to have it media credentials.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It'd be kind of nerve-wracking, to be honest.
Yeah.
It'd be weird. But I tried this year. I did try for once, so.
You should do because they said to try back for like you should pick like the Hornets game coming up. There's like a random game.
Yeah, I followed up and didn't get a response. I just don't think,
Yeah.
New ownership, new GM, new front office? Probably. But
Tori tried for a media credential.
Yeah, I did try this year. Not enough room, according to them,
Yeah,
which I feel like is the go-to response.
expected to be a crappy ass team that no one cared about, hardly any interest in it until they started winning, and yet, uh, yeah, there's not enough room in the room. Yeah, but whatever.
Sergey Cronin built a really good team. He knows what to do. I just love how like 11 games can change people from like, yeah, this team's really bad, we're rebuilding, it's fine, to like, we're really good now. He built this. Like, I would not go as far to say he's built a really good team already. Joe voice was shaky because he knows what needs to be done. You mean in terms of like trading Grant, so and he didn't, or? Not all of them hate us, but yeah, I mean, we're polarizing. That's fine. We have our opinions. We state it boldly. Some people don't like our opinions, so they don't like us. That's fine. It's completely fine. I am not going to sugarcoat things or try and like placate to people that will go call anyone who has our opinions idiots. Like, why? Like, we state our opinions. It's that simple. We know our stuff. We know our stuff. So
There's just
we've criticized a couple of people in the media, but like they've criticized us before, so it's fair game then. Fine, like just the way it is. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I don't really
called,
care. Like
we got called donkey ass clowns and Neanderthals and all this stuff just by not agreeing with everyone that Stotts was a good coach. It had nothing to do with anything personal, and those guys personally attacked us.
yeah,
But then we were the issue and all this stuff. And yeah, so a lot of people on Rip City Reddit just they do not like they choose certain people that are protected from criticism, and they don't like people who criticize them. It's like
Yep.
the Aton fan in here a little bit ago, right? Like
yep,
you can't objectively talk about someone like DeAndre Ayton and talk about both his good traits and his bad traits, because the minute you mention a bad trait, oh, you guys are so hard on him, like you never give him credit or whatever. And so yeah, so a lot of people on different platforms, and even on this platform, don't like people who have an issue with Joe Cronin because he's the best GM ever, right? And people don't like that we criticize Stotts, and people don't like that we weren't so happy about the Dame trade and the return on the Dame trade and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like we can't think for ourselves. And then it was so weird to have people saying we're like an echo chamber, because like that's the exact opposite of what we are, like we're the ones not echoing the same thing that everyone else does, and it's not by design. Like we're not doing this on purpose or because we want to be different. That this is how we feel, and we've always been real with you guys. We've always been honest with our emotions. That's what leads to me getting pissed off at 1:00 on a Thursday, in the middle of February. So like that was just raw emotion. That wasn't me like faking anything or whatever. Like this is just who we are.
I agree with Super Hachimichu. Says Reddit's the biggest echo chamber social media platform. LOL. Yeah, basically you have a like top opinion, and then if you don't agree with that opinion, you get downvoted into oblivion. And like your post will show a -7. I can like respond to somebody and be like completely cool, just like normal conversation, and get like 5 negative votes because like there's people there that don't like us, so don't just downvote me into oblivion. Like that's what it is. You don't agree with the common opinion, you get downvoted. So, in Multigun says, Rip City Reddit thinks Cronin is the greatest GM in Blazer history, practically. It's super cringe. Yeah, that's basically the common opinion. Is Joe Cronin is the greatest. He's amazing. Him doing nothing today was so amazing that if you don't agree, it pisses them off. You're going against their guy. It's almost like a freaking cult. And speaking of Colt in chat said Reddit was mad at us today. Good. I am embracing negative publicity at this point. Like, sure, talk about us, please talk about us. I'm glad you're mad at this point because we're just speaking our minds and you worship Cronin. So I'd rather be on this side, speaking my mind and like try to be logical about stuff. And we set the stage for months before this about what we should expect and stuck true to it instead of like buying BS excuses, listening to the dude that says, who would want to be OKC right now, and worshiping Joe Cronin for doing nothing. Like, you can stay on that side. We'll be on ours. Is how I view that. So, but yeah, keep talking about us. Keep introducing people to us, because listen, if people love Cronin, they're not going to like us anyway. But if people don't love Cronin, then yeah, get our name out there. Talk about us. Thank you. We appreciate it. Free publicity is what that is.
I just don't get, because, like, we don't, like, I understand, like, being public voices and stuff, we're going to get haters and people that attack us for our opinions and all that kind of stuff. But, like we have so many people that think we're just, like, the biggest jerks to anyone who disagrees with us or whatever. Like, we don't even talk to anyone unless they come in here attacking us first, like, that's the only reason we even engage with any of that stuff. And then, like, somehow we're the a-holes.
We are kind of a-holes to certain media guys that have been a-holes to us, so we just return.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, like, don't give us that energy if you don't like it back. I don't know.
Yeah. Miles Martin says, I respect your opinion on Aton, even if I disagree with the proportionality of the criticism. You guys enforce certain narratives, so I think it's valuable for those narratives to be challenged. I mean, like, yeah, we don't have narratives for narrative's sake. It's just like what we talk about is what we think, right? And you're always free to challenge it. Just challenge it with something. I always say this: challenge it with something of substance, right? Like, because Miles, if you disagree with the like how much we criticize Aton, sure, like, I do single out his effort more than other guys' effort because I think his effort is more of a problem than other guys' effort. So that's why I talk about it more. And he's being paid a max, so it's like makes me even more mad when somebody's being paid that much money and has effort issues. But then also it's just like people start to get. He has 4 good games where he plays somewhat hard and people start to get like completely bought in on him again. It's like, yeah, but he's going to go back to having inconsistent effort. This isn't going to last. So it's like trying to speak some reality to that truth that like it's going to be a roller coaster with Aton. It has been his whole career. Like the peaks are not going to stay at that level, right? But if I point that out, that it's like, he played a great game. Why are you criticizing him? Like, okay, I'm just trying to speak reality to the situation. But like, I fully challenge you to challenge narratives or opinions that you disagree with something of substance, because a lot of the people that challenge it, a lot of it's just like, you're so negative. It's about us. It's not about what we're saying. You're so negative. Or, you guys, what's wrong with fans? Like, it's always personal. It's not really about the subject. So, there's people that come in here and we can have a disagreement, and if they bring substance, it's enjoyable, actually. I enjoy it. It challenges me to make sure, like, my opinions are solid and I fully believe in them and that sort of thing, right? The problem is a lot of people will not challenge things with substance and come in here and it's, like, not actually a conversation. It's more so about, like, I hate you because you don't think like me type of stuff. One comment, Colt says, I'd rather fire you from our fan base. There's zero reason to push through crap transactions just for the sake of roster clarity or whatever. Be you or BE build excuse you throw out. I like that BU is listed first there, but I mean, okay, like the only reason the transactions would be crap is because Jeremy's contract is crap and Cronin gave him that contract. So it's like, that's the thing, is people are so caught up in liking Joe Cronin that they'll say all the trades for Jeremy are crap, but won't then come to a logical conclusion that, like, oh, they're crap because of his contract that Cronin gave him, because that would lead to them criticizing Cronin. They don't take that final step, right? And it's like, if the transactions are bad now, why do they think they're going to get better? Like, how's it going to get any better as he continues to age? It doesn't really make sense to me. So, yeah, that's where it just baffles me, comments like that. Because I feel like you're going half of the way towards criticizing Cronin, and then you don't want to go all the way, so you just stop at criticizing us. So, that's my response to that comment.
And we have Anthony asking us if we watch college basketball, Tori, and then someone else asked, have you guys, Duncan Hart asked, have you guys been evaluating upcoming draft products?
Yeah. If you're new to the channel, we do like whole big boards and stuff. We actually have the next one. I'll pull up the schedule. So we are doing our next big board, the first game after the All-Star break. Our 5th big board. So we've already dropped 4 big boards. Like, we've done it through like top 40. We have top 60 big boards. Last year I dropped an hour-long video talking for about a minute on 60 prospects and what I thought of them. So we do a ton of stuff around the draft. Like, we do our homework. That's the thing is some people don't like our opinions, but we study the CBA. We watch a ton of prospects so that we can talk about them. We enjoy scouting guys. Like, we did that before doing the channel, right? So it's just natural to do it with the channel. But it's like, we pay attention to the rest of the league as best we can. Like, we really put in the work to make sure we know what we're talking about, and we're never just going to, like, have an opinion for the sake of having an opinion, right? So that's why, like, we can confidently have opinions, is because we put the work into basically, like, for college players, we'll watch multiple games of guys throughout the year, and me and Eric will have a lot of debates. We debate on that more than anything, where me and Eric just see the same guy completely differently. But we're confident in our evaluations because, like, we have a track record of certain guys that we really liked that ended up slipping in the draft and ended up being pretty good. Like, you know, you're not going to hit on all of them, but Austin Reeves was a guy I really liked in his draft. He was undrafted. Now look how good he is. Nas Reed was one of those guys. So Herb Jones was a 2nd-round pick I thought should have been a 1st-round guy. So that's why we enjoy it. It's always fun to find those guys before they break out. But, yeah, we go fully in depth. So basically our goal is to know enough to have an opinion on every single player drafted.
Yeah, I heard from someone a couple of our draft streams ago that said, like, he usually watches the normal whatever TV broadcast of the draft.
Yeah.
But, like, he never had learned so much about prospects and stuff until he watched us break down each one as it happened. And he had no idea how in depth a show could be on the draft and stuff, because he's just used to watching the little blurb they give and don't really say much else and then move on to talking about the Lakers or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the first pick or whatever. So that really meant a lot to me, because, like you said, we really do try hard to know our stuff, and I don't think anyone can take that from us or, like, say that negatively about us that we're not informed,
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely catch our draft stream. So yeah, we put in work on the draft, man, for sure. There's a comment from, let's see here, Yuri, that says, "Hi, dude. Stop being annoyed by stupidity of haters, please. Accept some respect from Israel. You two are the best." Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, we talk about we're very interactive. Okay, so haters, people that rock with us, right? Like, we'll interact with it all. It's just kind of the way we like to do the show, where it's just more of a conversation, where we'll break things down, give our analysis, that sort of stuff. But we do like to make it a conversation about the narratives at hand with this team, with the players on this team, So, yeah. We find it enjoyable for us and hopefully more enjoyable for other people. But anyway, Eric, anything else you want to get into on the stream? I feel like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah. No, just awesome. See the Blazers win yet again. Sorry, I said something positive. Just hopefully this win streak continues. Let's beat Minnesota on Saturday. We'll be here after the game, like always. So if you're new, come join us. We're gonna do a mock draft Saturday night after the stream. It's a 5 o'clock game, so it's a little earlier.
Yeah.
Than normal 7:30-ish post game.
Yep.
Yeah. So join us if you want to talk more about draft picks and stuff like that, and give your opinions on the draft as well. We always love to have people in chat who can talk about prospects with us as well. So if you are interested in that after we talk about the game, we'll be doing that.
Yep. Yuri says, another Yuri from Israel. It's better to react to the good and less the bad. Oh, for sure. But, like, trade deadline is always a very polarizing day, so there's always, like, basically two trains of thoughts. One, like, just accepting whatever happens. One that's criticizing it. And, that's why it's, like, a lot of talk with, like, people that think differently or have hate or have differing opinions on a day like today. So, if you're new to the community, that's just kind of the way things go on deadline day. And then we're going to move past it, right? So things are going to get back to normal, I promise, very shortly. And especially after the All-Star break, like, part of it is right now I'm just, like, kind of exhausted from all the work I've had to put in this week. So it's just, like, sometimes I just don't care and will call out hate. So, but the love means a lot because, it is nice to hear nice things about us. Like, nobody likes seeing hate, I guess. Some people do. Like, you kind of got to embrace a little bit, but it's always nice to hear nice things. So we appreciate those of you that are very supportive. It means a lot. And yeah, we're on to this 3-game road trip. We will be live again, like Eric said, on Saturday, just to toss the schedule up one more time. Mock draft. We'll have a members night. We'll have a charity night, and then we'll have an all-star break. We will stream on the Monday of the all-star break, and then we'll have the post-game that Thursday. So we'll have one stream during the all-star break is the plan. Maybe if, like, Scoot and Tomani make it to the All-Star game because one of the Rising Stars teams makes it, maybe we will live stream that during that and just give our live reaction. Not sure. So just stay tuned.
Oh, I just saw, I think Fanspo updated some of their player pool for the...
Oh, did they? They finally got some of the guys?
I just saw Stojakovic on there. Yes, let's go.
Nice. Yeah, so...
I'm going to have to go through and see who else they added.
Yeah, and who they didn't add.
Yeah. Alex Wilson's Team Chuck is loaded. Yeah, he got all the good international players.
Yeah.
Dame and LeBron and Steph are on the same team with you.
I mean, it just comes down to whose team tries at all. Like, are any of those teams going to try? I have a feeling a Rising Stars team might win it because they're going to try, They're going to try and prove a point. They're going to be more energetic, so...
How many charges is Tomani going to take against Dame?
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome that Tomati and Scoot got on the same team, especially with the Amen twins. Like, I think their team is going to be good. So it's going to be fun to watch that. Twins? The Amen twins, the Thompson twins. Amen's better, so yeah. Amen and Asar, the Thompson twins. Yeah, man. See, it's been a long day, so that's why it's time to wrap up. Is there anything else, Eric?
No, thanks for watching both shows today. And, Blazers win. Hope to see you all on Saturday after another Blazers victory. Have a good couple of days until then. We don't have to now say, be ready for an emergency stream if there's a trade, because unfortunately we did not see the pleasure or disappointment of seeing the Portland Trailblazers have in any tweets this year. So it's been since June 25th or 26th since we've seen a tweet with us in it because we did not make a single move after that. So yeah, kind of crazy, but yeah, we don't have to worry about having emergency streams anymore for a few months at least.
Yeah, that's nice. That's definitely.
But thanks,
nice.
everyone. Appreciate you.
Yeah. They didn't add. They only added
Yeah.
Stojakovic from like the guys on my list, man. Like they didn't add De La Rey for some reason, or maybe I threw him in here and like forgot, and he's like down. No, he's not. I don't see him. Like they don't have De La Rey. They don't have.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot that we
Condon.
traded all our seconds on the 27th, but it's been since June 27th since we made a transaction, other than 2 ways.
Yep. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out. Blazers win again, man. They win again. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're not subscribed yet, hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we drop a stream or a video. Hit the like button on the way out of here. Easiest way to support the channel. Thank you to everyone who donated tonight. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring. And we are out of here. The Blazers win again. They're 2.5 games out of a play-in spot. Play-in? Playoffs? Finals? I don't know. Where does it end, man? I mean, the winning continues. 10 out of 11 games, the Blazers have a dub, and they're going to go up against a true litmus test over their final 3 games before the All-Star break, and I think we're going to find out a lot about this team in the next 3 games. So we'll have the breakdowns for all those, and you don't want to miss those. Have a good rest of your Thursday and a good Friday. We'll catch you again on Saturday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!